What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to Friday night's late night agenda on the eve of the Reds' trip down to London to take on Arsenal at the Emirates. Another massive game, another must-win game. Heck, they're all must-win games at this point in the season, ladies and gents. I hope you're all well. Hope you're all looking forward to a nice weekend. It's great to see some good weather out there. At least the sun's shining where I am in Ireland. Well, I say the sun's shining. At this point in time, it's getting dark, but you know what I mean. Don't be nitpicking, folks. There's no need for that. Even though I started it. But look, how are we? I hope you're all well. Where is he? I'm here, mate. And if you don't mind me being like a minute or two late, God almighty, like the moaning starts already. Where is he? It's 1 minute past. It's 31 minutes past. Where is he? I have a life, dude. Relax, chill. I'm here. Calm down. I hope that we're all well. We'll talk about Sabitzer. We'll talk about all the transfer gossip from the day. We'll talk about Konate and all the stuff as well. But most importantly, I hope that life is treating you all well. And I hope that you're all good. As always, I'm in good form ahead of the weekend. The international break was a long ass international break, but thankfully it's over. We've got the Reds back in action tomorrow. We've got the Champions League game on Tuesday against Madrid as well. So yeah, happy days. So look, what have we got? What do we want to start off with tonight? As always, this is your show, my friends. Thanks to our sponsors, Boiled Sports, as always, for letting us do what we do. But as always, folks, it is your show. So whatever you want me to start off with, let me know. Loving the new logo, said Mark. Thank you, mate. I'm a big fan of it myself. And look, I'm really fussy when it comes to stuff like this. So yeah, it's great. And well done to Drawdy and Connor for their little collaboration there, because it had nothing to do with me, as always. You know, Haaland. Right, let's have a chat around Haaland. And Daniel said let's have a go with Haaland, so why not? So what do we know about the Erling Haaland situation? Well, we know, as reported yesterday, that he was, let me just hurry my microphone up a bit, it seems a little bit low. He was in talks with Real Madrid and Barcelona in Spain. No secret about that. We'd seen his father and his agent, Mina Raiola, over talking to Real Madrid and Barcelona. Today, they flew into London, and as you know, Liverpool have offices in London, so there's rumours that they were talking with, let's say, a host of English clubs, because if I sat here and told you an exact list, I'd be lying, because I don't know the exact list. But interestingly enough on this one, Pep Guardiola has come out today, and we'd all assumed that if he was potentially coming to England, maybe, you know, it would be Manchester City. But Guardiola has come out today and said that they really don't have the funds available to go out this summer and spend a whole heap of money on a centre forward, even though Sergio Aguero is leaving the club at the end of the season. That doesn't really add up. I mean, why would you let Sergio leave if, well, maybe, in fairness to Guardiola, maybe believes he has the answer from within his squad. I don't know, but I have to say I don't really believe it. I don't really believe that they've no interest in Haaland or Messi or somebody else perhaps coming in this summer. So what do we know about it from a Liverpool perspective? Well, one, being realistic about it, as per David Ornstein of The Athletic, his preferred choice or his more likely destination seems to be Spain. I don't know whether that's Barcelona or Real Madrid, but you do have to ask yourself, if it's going to be this summer, if it is not going to be for the release clause, which doesn't kick in for Haaland until 2022, then it'll be a lot more than the €75 million buyout clause. It's talked around €150 million, something like that, is the money that Dortmund will be asking for to let him go this summer. And of course, they're perfectly within the rights to ask for that, because the clause doesn't kick in until the following summer. But then you have to ask yourself, how could a Barcelona, who owe, I think, over 700 million at the moment, something like that has to be paid off by a specific date, if I have that correct, and I think I do, and Real Madrid, who are also not in a great place financially, how could they afford such a transfer? Well, maybe they could move players on. Maybe if Barca got Messi off the wage books. I don't know. That's not for me to say. But looking at it from an English perspective, lots of talk, obviously, about the Redbird investment in Liverpool, the LeBron James thing, the Jerry Cardinal stuff. But we'd seen in Jurgen Klopp's press conference today that he came out and said that basically, from his understanding of it, I'm putting words in Kloppo's mouth, but roughly, he said basically that would allow the club to carry on the way they were. No talk of a lot of money being used for transfers, no talk of potential superstars coming in. But then again, he wouldn't say that, would he? He'd hardly come out and say, oh yeah, we've got a load of cash to spunk this summer, so let's go out there and spend it like drunken sailors, and then, you know, the clubs would be putting the prices up left, right and centre. So I wouldn't be too disheartened by what Kloppo had to say today over that one. Do I think Haaland would end up at Liverpool? No, I don't. Would I like him? Absolutely. But then again, you know, don't take me saying that I don't think he'll come as gospel either, because I'm like you, I'm just a normal fan. I sit here, I read the stories, I try and give my opinions on them. But we do know Haaland likes Liverpool. If you go back to the time when he came with Salzburg to play against us in the Champions League, he said one of the best teams in the world, best fans in the world, great stadium, all the right things. But that was then, this is now. And Mino Raiola is a very difficult negotiator, as we know. He always does get good deals for his clients and a nice little cut of the old pie for himself as well when it comes to the fees involved. So I don't know is the honest answer, but we would have had a conversation with him. We do have offices in London and it looked like Liverpool representatives would be chatting with him, but that's all we know at this moment in time. And anybody who tries to say anything different, unless it is of course like a David Ornstein or James Pearce, Melissa Reddy, people who we'd actually know are in the industry, really well sourced, I would just take it as they're just doing the rounds, putting out feelers, seeing what may be available this summer. And I wouldn't be holding my breath on it, although we'd all love it. That's my honest opinion on where we are on that one anyway. I just joined. Are we talking about Haaland? Yes, I was talking about Haaland, mate. Yes. Over 700 million in short-term debt for Barcelona. Yep, as I was saying, mate, earlier on. And another one that's doing the rounds today with regards to potential Liverpool transfers is Pau Torres. Now, regular viewers of the channel will know, and I don't ever give myself much credit for anything, but I'd say I was probably one of the first people to ever mention Pau Torres' name with regarding a potential move to Liverpool or a potential option for us. Now, he does have, I believe, a €65 million or £55 million release clause in his contract, but that doesn't mean that we will go and trigger that. And then there's all the talk of a verbal agreement as well with Konate, which we'll go through a little bit later on in the stream as well. So there's loads and loads of stuff, folks. And that's before we even look ahead to the game against Arsenal tomorrow and try and figure out who Klopp is going to go with in the starting 11. Now, if you want my views on all of that, I did put out a video earlier on today where I broke down my starting 11. I went with my score prediction for the game. Jack caught up with Leon from Boyle Sports and they had a chat around the game as well. So that video is up on the channel if you want to go and give that a separate watch later on. Fabrizio Romano is the most reliable source. See, I'm on the fence with that, mate. I think Fabrizio Romano is, yes, very well placed, but I see him as a bit of a tap-in merchant, if I'm being honest with you. Now, he's a very credible journalist, do not get me wrong, not knocking the man, but I don't remember too many stories that, particularly from a Liverpool side, that he's really broken. He's more confirmed or, here we go, that type of stuff. I don't remember him really breaking much, to be honest. So he doesn't comment on stuff till it's very far along and very well placed. I will give him that. He very rarely gets stuff wrong when he posts about it, but I do see him as a little bit of a tap-in merchant, if I'm being honest. Would you be happy if we signed Sergio Aguero? He's a Liverpool fan. Well, yes, but we won't be. I know Jack Gill mentioned this actually on the Anfield Agenda podcast, that he'd love us to go out there and potentially look at a deal for Aguero. To me, no. The injury record alone and the lack of games that he's played over the past 2 seasons for Manchester City, he's a goal scoring machine. He'll go down, and rightly so, as one of the all-time greats in the Premier League era, and he deserves that place because Sergio Aguero is a special talent. But at this moment in his career, I'd rather the Suarez option. If you were going to go for a player with experience for 1 season, maybe, I'd rather we look at Luis Suarez, who potentially has that get out of jail free card from Atletico in the summer. So of those two, I'd rather, if we're going for the experienced striker, Luis Suarez. Do you think anyone will ever do a Man United Liverpool straight transfer deal? You never say never, Biscuit Boy. It's very unlikely. It has happened on rare occasions over the years, but not in a good while. What else we got? Hi Craig and Zach, how's life? It's not bad, mate. It's not bad. I can't complain. Great to get a little bit of good news yesterday on young Marcel as well in that operation. So if you did miss that, we did read out last night a good update. The transplant operation for the young man did take place yesterday. Father seems to be recovering okay. Transplant went well. They're just giving and waiting to see if the young man's body accepts the organ, and all signs so far are looking good. So that was great news to get yesterday as well. Suarez high wages though. Well, we don't know what his wages are, mate, because you haven't asked him how much he wants. So there is that. Like, he is 34 heading for 35, so whatever he's on at Atletico doesn't necessarily correlate to what he'll be getting at his next club. So we don't know what Suarez wages will be. And if you're saying Suarez wages high though, do you think Sergio Aguero's wages wouldn't be? In fact, I'd almost guarantee that Sergio Aguero's wages would be higher. than what we'd have to pay Luis Suarez. But again, we're splitting hairs here, buddy. I don't think we'd be too unhappy if one of them came in, but it won't be Aguero, I don't think. And look, I'd be shocked if it was Suarez either, to be honest. News on Mbappe. There isn't really much other than it looks like PSG could potentially be willing to lower their asking price for Kylian Mbappe. You know, we had heard the whole 160 million odd, now it may be down to somewhere between 120 upwards, as it looks less and less likely that he looks to agree a new deal at Paris Saint-Germain. Again, though, you've got the same problem there as if we do go and get him, or if we do try and get him, I should say, excuse me, where the hell do we get the wages money from? Because we will be shattering our club transfer record. The only way, and please don't take this out of context, because I'm saying something just to answer this guy's point. The only way I could see us potentially even thinking about Kylian Mbappe is if we sold Salah. Now, I'm not saying we sell Salah. Don't take this out of context. Don't go around saying Craig said he wants to sell Salah, because I haven't. But the only way I could see that deal taking place is if we did. Now, there is a situation around Salah where at the end of this season he'll have 2 years left on his Liverpool deal. So that has to be resolved one way or another. So is it maybe... We've seen a few little bits and pieces coming out suggesting that, you know, maybe he's going to look for a move away, and I don't know if he is or isn't. I've got no information on that one. But you can't really let it go past this summer without resolving that with Mohamed Salah, because you don't want him going into the last 18 months or 1 year of his contract. That would just be silliness. So if Liverpool and Mohamed Salah's representatives cannot agree a deal, or they both agree that it's time for him to have a new chapter, and I've got no idea if he does or doesn't want to leave, so don't be misquoting me, then this will be the summer. But where do you get the money from? Who buys them? Who has the money? Who's available? Do you know what I mean? It's a tricky one. And we can't allow ourselves as a club to get into a situation where you're letting somebody like Mohamed Salah's contract run down. It has to be resolved. We've all heard that Fabinho and Virgil van Dijk are the most likely ones that Liverpool will be first stepping up to renegotiate their contracts. And that's great news. We want to hear that. But it is interesting around Salah. I am as intrigued as everybody else, and quite frankly, as worried as everybody else about what may happen with Mo and his contract situation. What do you guys think on it, by the way? Again, watching this back later on, love to know your thoughts in the comments. Anyone in the live chat right now would love to know your thoughts on the situation. Do you think that Mohamed Salah will agree a new deal with Liverpool this summer? Because I would be really, really shocked if Liverpool play a game of brinksmanship or play a game of chess with Salah's representatives over this, because you don't want him going into those last 2 years. That's when it starts to get dangerous for us with an asset such as Mohamed Salah. What have we got? Mbappe recently talked about joining Liverpool. According to Le Parisien, he said hell no, LMAO. No, he didn't. If you look at anything that he spoke about with Le Parisien or any other article, he's only ever spoken fondly of Liverpool, of Jurgen Klopp, of the club. Said he plays with him on FIFA, but whatever, mate. I don't really give a shit what you have to say. I don't think he'll be coming, to be honest. So, you know, there is that. We'd have to pay 600-700 grand a week, which our wage structure would be absolutely shattered if we did that. Unless, you know, maybe Nike stepped up, or there was something in the wings that we weren't aware of, or I don't know. It's very, very, very unlikely. How long does he have left on his contract? Who? I mean, it helps if you ask the whole question, mate. If you're talking about Salah 2023, to my belief. So the end of this year, the end of this season, 2 years left on Mo's contract. Do you think we'll see players rested for tomorrow? It's an interesting one, Ronan, and it's a very good question, mate, and it's one that I kind of toyed with myself a little bit when I was doing my predicted 11 for the game against Arsenal. So I think we may see one or two, yeah. I think it's fair to say we might see one or two. Now, who they may be is open to interpretation and anybody's guesses. I mean, my starting 11 is in that video. It's there for everybody to see. Even though it's weird because I didn't include Roberto Firmino in my starting 11, but he has been recuperating and is fit and available, and of course had no international duty, nor did Alisson or Fabinho either, because we know the South American World Cup qualifiers were called off. Well, postponed, I should say. What have we got? If he wants to go, just accept it, said Kate. Are we talking about Salah here, Kate? I assume that we are. I don't know what the situation is with Mohamed Salah. See, sometimes in these situations, the agents and the player will put out little teasers. They will, but sometimes that's to try and get themselves the better deal. So I wouldn't always look at it if Mohamed Salah says something like, maybe one day I'll play in La Liga, or, you know, I could see myself going back to Serie A at some point in my career, or anything along those lines. It could be that he's just looking for a better deal or trying to put himself in a stronger negotiating position. I don't know. We all know that Mohamed Salah is a goal scoring machine. We know that he's smashed records since he's come to the club. We know what he's capable of. We know how great he is. We know how lovable he is. There's no negative to speak about with Mohamed Salah for Liverpool fans. And we all hope that he does agree that new deal, and we all hope that the club give him what he wants, and we all hope that he stays. But on the off chance that it doesn't, to me, in my opinion, you have to sell him this summer. If no deal can be agreed, you have to sell him this summer, because you're not going to move him on in January, and then you're left with 1 year on his contract, and that is a no-no with somebody of his value. Like, we're all sitting here talking about Kylian Mbappe and how Paris Saint-Germain have let it get to this point where, you know, after this summer, if they don't agree a deal to sell him, he could sign for a club outside of France on a pre-contract agreement in January and leave for nothing. Now, that would be unthinkable. Imagine Kylian Mbappe going on a free, particularly at the age he's at. There's no way that Liverpool can afford to let themselves get caught into that trap. We'd seen it happen before with Michael Owen. We'd seen it happen with Steve McManaman. We're in the situation right now with Gini Wijnaldum. We can't let that happen with Mohamed Salah. So I hope the club sit down with his reps and get it sorted. But if you don't, then this is the summer to sell him. That's just my honest opinion on it. Because otherwise you're just losing a lot of money on somebody who was a superstar in world football. I'd love to know what you guys think, if you agree or disagree, but you know, number one, we want him to sign. You know, draw a line under that. We want him to stay. But if we won't agree this summer, I think you got to put the wheels in motion to try and move him on. That's otherwise you're just gonna lose a shit ton of money. Jota to score and Oxlade-Chamberlain if he plays at Kate tomorrow. Salah's not money hungry, he just wants a happy environment, so why would he leave us? I hope you're right on that one, Tala, and I'd love him to stay. We all love Mo. Of course we want him to stay, but it is that very tricky point now. That 2-year mark is usually where clubs start to renegotiate with players. And from what we've read and we've at least seen out in public, it's the only names you really see thrown around for contract renewals are Virgil van Dijk and Fabinho, at least what I've read anyway. Luke, how are you, mate? Said, hi Craig, the new Anfield agenda banner looks good. How have you been today? I'm good, thank you, Luke. Sun's shining, you know, good day, nice weather outside, always cheers me up a bit. If you could sell one player, who would you sell? Origi. Very quick answer to that one, mate. There you go. Sorry, that didn't take much thinking time. How is Salah's contract lasting until 2023 when he signed in 2017? You're missing the big renewal that he signed, mate, when, you know, the same summer we signed Firmino, Mane and Salah all signed renewals. Do you remember that? After, I don't know, was it the season after we won the Champions League? Or after we lost the Champions League final? I can't remember what year it was, but they all signed new deals, mate, so that's how. You're not in great form today, Sodos, mate, are you? You had a little dig before I even started, now you're having a little snidey thing about the transfer, the length of his contract. I don't know, mate, but he did sign a new deal, as did Mane, as did Firmino. Do you remember in that one summer? If we sell Salah, it's automatically a downgrade. Nowhere in the world would replace his goals. I agree, Mustafa. It is very, very, very difficult to replicate how important Mohamed Salah is, both with regards to goals, with regards to marketing, with regards to personality. So many things, mate. I agree. It would be very, very, very difficult to replace the man. Sell Salah, bring in Sancho. If I was a betting man, I would guess that United will be back in for Sancho, Mark, and they seem to have laid the groundwork there for that one. We could use LeBron James to get Mbappe. It's the wages, mate. I mean, I don't think Mbappe would need much convincing to come to Liverpool if we match. Now, I think his first choice has always been Real Madrid. I think he idolises Zinedine Zidane. But at the same time, we spoke earlier on in the stream about Haaland's most likely destination maybe being Spain. Well, let's say he goes to Real Madrid. As an example, there's no way they're financing both of those deals this summer, Haaland and Mbappe. There's just no way they could do that. So then where else does Mbappe go? So, you know, does he hang on and join in a free and join Real Madrid the following year? Or would somebody like Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester City, United, Paris Saint-Germain, that's where he's at, Bayern Munich, step up? I don't know. Kabak or Konate, says Kayla. Both. And let me explain why. So, couple of things. There's a few things going around that suggest that Michael Edwards and Liverpool are trying to negotiate a lower fee for Kabak. The 18 million that we have already seems a relatively reasonable fee, but there's talk they're trying to negotiate a 9 or 10 million pound fee. Now, Konate, there was a piece went out today. Let me just get it up on my phone so I can read it out to you. To say that there's a verbal agreement in place, but again, let me just grab this up. So this came from the Echo, and they go via Anfield Central, who, by the way, I'd never heard of before until this week, and all of a sudden the Echo seem to be quoting them on everything, but maybe I'm just behind the game on that one. So Liverpool reportedly have a verbal agreement for the transfer of Ibrahima Konate. According to Anfield Central, a deal has been verbally agreed between both parties for the RB Leipzig centre-back, adding that a move could be confirmed before the end of the season. The report also states that Liverpool are attempting to renegotiate an £8 million clause in Konate's contract that would only be activated were he to win silverware in his first season. The Echo understands that Konate is on a 5-man shortlist of centre-backs Liverpool are considering this summer. There you go. That's what they have to say. We know about the release clause, 40 million quid. That's the release clause in his contract. 40 million euro, that is, which I think is about 36 million pound. And we know that Liverpool still have up until June to decide whether they want to trigger that option to buy in Kabak's contract. So, yeah, it's all still open for negotiation. And then we haven't even moved on to the links to Pep Torres, which I will move on to now. So this comes from who is this one coming from? AS, a Spanish outlet that says Liverpool, Real Madrid, Manchester United have been credited with an interest in Pep Torres, who has a 65 million euro or 55 million pound release clause, and the Villarreal centre back is 24 years of age. And I've been talking about this guy for a while on the channel as a decent option. Could be looked at as a little bit lightweight, but somebody who, again, I think is a very good option, but at the money that we're quoted there. So let's look at sorry, I just want to scroll back up the screen for 1 second. Let's look at the options of Konate and Kabak combined for less than a Pep Torres at that buyout clause, or less than a Jules Koundé as an example. For me, that would represent better business, getting two good young 21 year old centre backs for worst case scenario, let's say pay full price 56 million, something like that. To me, that makes sense. Ozan's made mistakes. Kabak to back? Does that even? I don't even know what that means, mate. But of course he'll make mistakes. He's a young centre back. He's only just turned 21 years of age. But as I said to you yesterday, if you want to be really cold-hearted and cynical about this, even if Liverpool triggered that clause to buy Kabak in, let's say, the end of May, bought him, let him go off to the Euros with Turkey, let him play there, have a good tournament, his value shoots up, you could sell him at the end of the summer and you could make your money back and some. Now that's me being really cynical. The hopeful me hopes that we get Konate and Kabak and we move on, maybe Nat Phillips or Joel Matip or somebody else. Right, what else have we got? There was some comment here I wanted to read out. That one, yeah. Craig William Gibson said 100,000 subscribers soon. Mate, I'm literally counting every single one. Waking up every day looking just to see if we've moved a little bit closer. So look, if you do like what we do, ladies and gentlemen, you do like the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. Drop a like on the video as well. If you want to become an official member of Anfield Agenda FC, which is our membership here on the channel, it is $4.99 a month. There's a link pinned to the top of the chat and in the description of the stream as well. You get the Anfield Agenda logo beside your name, which changes colour the longer you're with us. Your name appears in green to me and other members. You also get all the cool emojis that our members get use of on the channel, and you get into our Anfield Agenda members only Discord group, which whereas we dish the dirt on transfer gossip, we give people a heads up. Like for instance, we gave the guys a little look at the new logo before we released it publicly. We're working on a little bit of merch behind the scenes at the minute, maybe getting ready for the summer and next season. Again, our members will be the first one to get a look at that. We often ask their opinion on things to think if something's worth doing or not, topics for videos, that type of stuff. That's all in our Discord group, and again, that is for members only, and it is $4.99 a month, and the link is at the top of the chat. Right, what else have we got? David Luiz has been ruled out, Craig, so Arsenal will probably play Holding and Gabriel at the back. Yeah, it's an interesting one tomorrow, isn't it? I mean, speaking to Jack Gill when we were doing our Premier League predictions for the Mundo Sporto channel, we were talking about this game, and it's hard to know which of either team will turn up. Like, which Liverpool side will turn up, which Arsenal team will turn up, because we've both been a little bit up and down this season. My prediction for the score was I went for a 2-1 Liverpool win, but it's a very difficult one to call. I mean, especially coming off the back of an international break. I do like the fact that it's a nighttime Saturday kickoff. That does add a bit of intrigue to it for me. I love playing games under the lights at night. I think it adds to it. And of course, we know then that maybe Liverpool will have one eye on the Champions League game against Real Madrid on Tuesday. So like people said at the start of the stream, will we perhaps look at resting a couple of players, or will we see players coming off the bench later trying to win the game because they've travelled a long way on international duty? So it's so tough. It's so tough to guess what way Jurgen Klopp will go with this, because he has had a whole host of players who've been at Kirby over the international break, although they were given time off, and he has been able to work with Firmino, and there will be some tactical stuff, so it's very difficult to gauge what way he'll go. I have a feeling we will see some changes. Sorry, I'm a little bit put off because the dog next door is out barking for the 500th time today, and all I can hear when I'm trying to talk is that dog barking. What have we got? Somebody said about Sabitzer. Right, so Sabitzer is being linked with a move away from RB Leipzig. Now, he's been linked with a few clubs. Spurs have been linked with him as an example. Liverpool have again been linked with Sabitzer. But if you're asking my honest opinion, I think we can do better. He's a good player, no doubt about that. Austrian international, very good footballer, tidy, but I don't think he's a solution for somebody who predominantly plays as a winger. I think on the right side, if my memory's right, it's not really a position for me that if we were to go out and look for a right winger to either come in and put pressure on Salah or act as a somebody who could rotate into the front three. He's not it for me, particularly when you've got young Harvey Elliott as well, who's on loan at Blackburn. So I don't really believe the Sabitzer links too much for me. I think it smacks of an agent trying to get a move away for his player in the summer and linking Liverpool's name to Sabitzer, which is fairly easy to do as well when you played them recently in the Champions League. So I don't really believe there's much to the Sabitzer thing myself, but again, I'm always happy to hear what you guys think. Sorry. Got cool said Jota starts for Real Madrid. To me, I hope he starts in both games. Got cool, mate. I hope he starts tomorrow, and I hope he starts against Real Madrid. Prediction on Leicester and City. I can't remember what score I went with. I think I have it saved on my phone, mate, so let me just pull up what my predicted scores were. 1-1 actually I went for in that game, which I know probably sounds like a little bit of a shock, because City will want to get the title wrapped up ASAP, and but they'll also have one eye on the Champions League this week with the game against Dortmund, and Leicester are no mugs, as we know only too well. So I went for a bit of a surprise 1-1 draw on that game, but I will be covering that game tomorrow, by the way, on Mundo Sporto. So if you want to join me for a watch along at Leicester against Manchester City, come over to Mundo Sporto tomorrow. There's a link in the description if you want to sign up subscribe to Mundo Sporto. I'll be doing that game on Mundo Sporto. Then as soon as that finishes, Jack Gill will be on Anfield Agenda doing the team announcement show for team starting 11 announcement show, and then I'll be coming on to do the watch along, and then we'll have our post match reaction show as well. So busy day across both channels tomorrow, folks. Perfect summer for me, said Mustafa, would be Koulibaly, Konate, Bissouma, Daka, and debating if we should get Rafinha or Pedro Neto. Koulibaly's not coming to Liverpool for the 500,000th, millionth, billionth, trillionth time. Koulibaly will not be a Liverpool player. I don't even know how anybody in any way thinks that we're going to sign him. The price has gone down. I've said this loads of times. Yes, they are going to accept less from him, but he's still getting on an age, and there's still better value to be had out there for me. Bissouma is somebody that the club have been looking at, definitely. Patson Daka, again, agree, somebody the club have been looking at. Rafinha or Pedro Neto. I would personally prefer Neto of the two of them. Rafinha seems to be happy enough actually at Leeds as things stand. But Neto, yeah, I do like Neto. I have to say, I really do like Pedro Neto. The dog's still barking. He's still barking away next door. Thoughts on the Odegaard links? Again, this goes back a long way, our interest in Martin Odegaard. Before he even signed for Real Madrid, Liverpool were sniffing around trying to get that deal done. Obviously, we know he's at Arsenal at the minute. I don't know if Mikel Arteta and Arsenal are going to look to make that move permanent, but would I mind Odegaard at Liverpool? Not one bit. I think he's a very, very talented young footballer, and they're the type of links that I can look at and think make sense. You know, Real Madrid will want to free up some cash this summer. Will they want to cash in on a talented young guy like Odegaard? I don't know. But it's not out of the realms of possibility. They did loan him out to Arsenal. We do have a long-standing interest in the player. He did very well at Real Sociedad when he was there. So for me, that seems like a sensible player to be linked with. And I'd have no issues at all if Liverpool were to bring in Martin Odegaard. Not one bit. I think he's a very, very good player. Curtis Jones might be in England's bad books. I couldn't give a shiny shit if England never go near Curtis Jones again, mate. As long as he's wearing a Liverpool shirt, that makes me happy. If England have any issues with him, that's a whole lot of not my problem, because I'm a Liverpool fan and I don't really care what happens with the English national team, mate. I'm Irish, and I also don't really care about international football. So as long as Curtis Jones is tickety-boo for Liverpool and he's all happy with Jurgen Klopp, then I'm all good to go. What else we got? Could you do line-up videos for Madrid? I do line-up videos for every game, mate. Every Liverpool game. So I'll be recording the starting 11 predictions and score prediction video for Madrid on Sunday, and that'll come out then on Monday afternoon, buddy. So yeah, no problem whatsoever. That'll be ready to go Monday afternoon. Would you have Ryan Gravenberch, Craig? He's been unreal for Ajax this season and still only 19 and could replace Gini. So many good young players around, mate, and like you said, mate, anyone that comes through the Ajax Academy is going to be talented. Actually, I don't know if he did come through the Ajax Academy. I'm gathering because he's 19, he probably did, but very good player from what I've seen of him. But a 19-year-old in to replace Gini, I don't know. I probably would want somebody with a little bit more experience than that, but I'm not doubting your belief in the lad's abilities, but for me, I'd like somebody 23, 24, maybe around that age. What have we got? Thoughts on Ali's new look? Oh, I love it. The man can do anything. He can do no wrong in my eyes, Alisson Becker. Like, wear a peak cap, he can have a moustache, he can do whatever he wants as long as he's in there for Liverpool. He's our big, beautiful Brazilian goalkeeper, and he pulls off the tash, in fairness to him. Like, it's a magnificent piece of facial hair, you have to say. What do you think about Nat Phillips, winning Liverpool's Player of the Month? Deadly. That's what I think about it, right? Absolutely class. The man's a machine for us in the last month, so very well deserved for Nat Phillips, and I'm sure he stuck his head through a watermelon just to celebrate. But yeah, congratulations to him, nothing wrong with it. Jeremy said Sabitzer's going to Spurs, mate. Good. I literally spent 10 minutes saying I didn't want him, Jeremy, so you can have him at Spurs, mate. Welcome to him. I've watched him play a fair few times, and tidy footballer, but not a game changer for me, not anyone that's going to set the world on fire, Jeremy. So you can have him, mate. You're very welcome to him. Did you see Pep's interview saying they won't sign a striker? Yeah, I spoke about it at the start of the stream, mate. I don't believe it, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying that to knock Guardiola, but my rationale is, why let Sergio Aguero leave at the end of the season if you don't have anybody ready to come in? Now, maybe he looks at what he has in the squad in Gabriel Jesus and Fernan Torres and thinks, okay, maybe we've got the solutions here. Maybe I can move somebody else central. I don't know, but I'd be very, very surprised if Manchester City didn't go out and bring in a centre forward. I mean, I kind of assumed they were going to be looking for Haaland or Harry Kane or somebody like that, but you know, you have to take somebody at his word until they're proved otherwise. So if Guardiola says that they haven't got the money to go out and buy a striker, then let's just wait and see what happens in the summer. What have we got? Cold Coke. Oh god, a can of Diet Coke. Yeah, there'll be can of Diet Coke coming my way after the stream, definitely for sure. Who would I like for a Genie replacement? Who's more? I know it's not a like-for-like replacement, I know, but I think we have enough legs in midfield. So like we have Hendo there, we've got Curtis Jones there, we've got Naby Keita there, we've got James Milner there, we've got Fabinho obviously in the more defensive side of it. And for me, yeah, I'd love a Husamor, somebody like that, somebody, you know, who can link up play. And obviously we have Thiago as well, who's a bit more on the front foot now that Fabinho's back in midfield. But yeah, I gotta say I do like the idea of Husamor for me, mate. But there's also the guy we were linked with as well. We were linked with the guy Rodrigo de Paul from Udinese. We've been linked with the guy from Borussia Mönchengladbach, whose name escapes me at this moment in time. City could just stick Gundogan at striker and they'd be okay. Yeah. Look, they have a very talented squad. City, like, there's no sitting here and denying that. And Gundogan's had a cracking season. I take Pedro Neto all day long. The partnership between Neto left, Jota centre forward, and Salah Mane right is insane, says Guillermo. I'm with you, Guillermo, and I know a lot of Liverpool fans that I've spoken to, Dara Azizi being one of them as well, like Pedro Neto and wouldn't mind the idea. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but I assume that because he's at Wolves, because he's Portuguese, that he's probably a George Mendes guest a few agency rep. So I imagine he's rep by them, so they were the people we dealt with to get the deal for Fabinho and Jota over the line. So we know that if he is represented by the guest a few agency, that Liverpool do have a good channel of communication to George Mendes. So, you know, that could be possible. Now, whether Wolves, would have any interest in selling them or not, that's a conversation for a different day. How much would you say Aouar is worth? About, you see, there's two different ways of looking at this. What's he worth this summer, or what would be his real value? Because I think every player's value is probably skewered a little bit because we're in a world, mate, where finances in football aren't what they are because of, you know, no fans basically inside stadiums and stuff. So I'd say somewhere around 40 million euro, I'd say, would be a fair valuation for Houssem Aouar this summer. I'm not saying he shouldn't be worth more than that, but I'm saying realistically, in the world that we're in, I think somewhere between 35 to 40 million euro, I'd feel comfortable at Liverpool being able to afford it. Now, that's just my take on it. I'm not Michael Edwards. Excuse me. I've been trying to hold back that cough for the entire stream, but I had to let it go in the end. Love the new logo. Thank you, Sharon. Really appreciate that. Shout out to Drawdy, who helped design it for us. Well, did 99% of the work. Connor downloaded the file, so we'll give Connor 1%. But yeah, it does look really nice. I'm glad that you guys like it. Myself and Connor were up quite late last night on a Skype call. Well, it wasn't Skype. What were we using again? On a StreamYard call, and we were messing around with the logo on mugs, and we were messing around with some hoodies and stuff like that as well. So we are working on a little bit of merch, maybe, which we might do on a limited run with regards to hoodies and stuff like that. So yeah, bear with us, but keep an eye on this space because, again, anything that we do decide on or any ideas that we do have, we will be putting them into our members-only Discord group for their approval first because, you know, it's part of the package. As we said, if people become members of the channel, we do try and give them a heads up first on everything. So any ideas we do have, they'll be going into the members Discord group as well. So if you want to get into that group, as I said, there is a link at the top of the chat right now or in the description. It is $4.99 a month, and you know what you get. You've heard me say it loads of times. Which of the front three would I sell? See, this lands me in a whole lot of trouble, mate, because I don't want to sell any of them. So you've asked me which one I would sell, and my answer would be none of them. And it's a front four, by the way, if you include Jota. But I have to say none of them. But which one would I think is more likely this summer? I kind of touched on earlier on in the stream because the contract situation. Salah is the one that I would be most worried about because his contract has 2 years left at the end of this season, and you don't want to let that run down to 18 months. So you'd want to be tying him up to a new contract or perhaps looking to move him on this summer. Now, I don't want it to be the move him on part. I want us to be tying him down to a new deal. But yeah, that would be the one I would say would be a lot more likely. Martin Gillespie, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, my man. I see Connor has changed it to the new logo as well. No messing around for Mr. Crosby. You love to see you. Welcome in, buddy. Great to have you as a member. And if you want to look for the link to the Discord group, mate, it'll be on the community tab of the Anfield Agenda YouTube channel, and only members will see the link, buddy. So if you've any issues with it, mate, let us know and we'll get you sorted. But welcome anyway, mate, and thank you very much. What have we got? I wasn't including Jota because he's definitely not being sold. Well, yeah, you're right on that one, Samuel, mate. He's definitely not being sold. And by the way, what a buy he's been. I mean, I was a little bit downbeat after we didn't sign Werner, but now I'm eternally grateful that we got Jota. I'm not slagging off Timo Werner, by the way. I'm just more grateful in seeing and realising the player that we've got with Diogo Jota because I love him. I love his attitude. I love everything about him. And I love the fact he can score all different kinds of goals as well. We've seen him score with his head again for Portugal. I just love the guy. Just great piece of business from the club. Hoodies and polo shirts would be great. Oh, Brendan. My man, it's exactly my line of thinking, buddy. We were looking at this really cool zip up hoodie. We were looking at polo shirts. We were looking at mugs, and we were looking at quarter zips or half zips as well. They were the kind of things that we were looking at with regards to merchandise. And we've got one design that I'm absolutely in love with, really in love with. But with all of these things, we wouldn't be going through any of the Teesprings or any of those type of things. We'd be looking to get them made up in a batch of a limited run of like 50 or something. So if we do merch, what we'll probably do is do something like, I don't want to say GoFundMe because that's not the right type of thing, but we basically have to guarantee we have a minimum amount of orders in order to get them made uniquely for us. So maybe you could include like somebody's initials on them and stuff like that. And when you're doing stuff like that that's so unique and you're not just drop shipping them, you'd usually have to have a minimum order of whatever the company that you're working with is. So when I say a GoFundMe, I don't mean to raise money for them. I just mean to get a commitment that X amount of people would buy them more than anything else. So again, it's something that we'll talk about a lot more over the coming weeks and months, and myself and Connor will be whittling down the designs and changing a few things around and stuff. But the hoodie, the zip up hoodie that we looked at last night, that Connor designed on the site, oh, I tell you, I'll be buying myself 2 or 3 of them minimum. Do you think Liverpool need to bring in another right back cover for Trent, or do you think Nico is good enough? It's a difficult situation, mate, because it's hard to know if Nico's going to be good enough or not if he doesn't get much game time. But at the same time, if you move him out on loan, you're in a whole world of trouble because you've got to get somebody in there to cover. So I would say stick with him for this season. Give him some more game time, give Trent a rest where possible, and see how the guy progresses. But it is a very, very difficult judgment call to make. Saka to Liverpool. I think we missed that ship, mate, when we could have had him, but he signed for Arsenal. When he signed that new deal for Arsenal, I think that kind of ended it. But God, yeah, I would have loved him at Liverpool. I think he's a great player. What do I think of Botman? Looks good. Again, all things that I've been told with regards to Sven Botman are that Liverpool don't really have an interest, that it was more the French club looking to drum up interest in the player to maybe try and start a bid more or something. So I don't know if we genuinely have any interest in Sven Botman or if he's on that short list of 5 that has been mentioned. What else we got? If Konate signs, do you think we'll sign Kabak as well? I think we should, mate. Yeah, Karen Deep. I think we should. Because, again, as I said, just being ruthless about this, whatever we think about Kabak, so whether you think he's good enough or not, I think buying him for the 18 million that we can, letting him go to the Euros, having a good Euros, worst case scenario, we could flip him for a profit. Now, call that a bit unscrupulous, but hey, look, football's a business. It is ruthless. But that being said, I want us to sign both of them. I wouldn't mind Konate and him. And I'd personally like to see Joel Matip moved on, if possible, because although I love him as a player, and I don't think many of us will disagree that he's a quality centre-back, his injury record's horrendous. And that would be the one to move on for me. But I'd say Nat Phillips would be the more marketable player to move on. So yeah, there you go. I hope that answered the question. Craig, take my money. Okay, but what am I taking it? I'll take it, no problem. But what am I taking it for? If it's the merch, honestly, I don't big up much stuff, but the hoodie that we designed last night, it is pretty damn beautiful, and it's from a well-known company as well. So we're working on a few things, as I say. As and when we have a little bits of snippets, we'll put it into our members Discord group and let them guys decide, because we do like to give them an input, because this is a community channel, so we like our subscribers and our members to have a voice in what does or doesn't get used or said. So as always, there you go. We like to try and get feedback as well. All constructive criticism or viewpoints are welcome, unless you're calling me a bald twat, in which case that's not welcome at all. Because we all know I'm a handsome bastard, and don't deny it. Don't begrudge yourself the love of Craig. It's okay. Let it into your life. It would make you happier. Plus, I'm going to be busy this weekend as well, being the Easter Bunny, so I've got loads of stuff to do. I've got a lot of gaffs to visit, you know what I mean? A lot of chocolate to give out. Who's your favourite WWE superstar? I mean, are we talking past, present? If we're talking past, Stone Cold, probably. The Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man Randy Savage. If we're talking current day, probably Randy Orton. I do like an old RKO. So yeah, And yes, I did like wrestling a lot growing up. I went to a load of events and watched it until my mid to late 20s probably. Missing Ben Davies. I know, still hasn't played a minute, mate. I've got a feeling, and again, it is just a feeling, that we'll see Ben Davies being sold in the summer for little to no money, because he could have gone as a free agent from Preston at the end of the season. Celtic looked like they were going to get him signed up, and it looks like Eddie Howe is very close to becoming Celtic manager, by the way, by the looks of things. So maybe that would be something that they could reignite for a very low fee as a kind of, not a thank you to Ben Davies, but just not be dicks about it. But I don't know, maybe Davies has a future at the club. I genuinely haven't got a clue. It's tough to judge when we haven't seen him play. Should Jota start tomorrow? For me, absolutely yes. Have you talked about Haaland? Yes, I have, at the start of the stream, mate. And basically, to summarise it, they flew into London today, his agent and his father, to talk to clubs. Now, Liverpool have an office in London, as you know. I don't know who else were involved. Chelsea have been mentioned, City, United, but I don't know, is the honest answer, who they spoke to. But they were in today for talks. They were in Spain yesterday talking about Barcelona and Real Madrid. So, again, we'll have to wait and see what happens, or if anything comes from it. Do you think, who do you think was the worst player to come to Liverpool? Djibril Cissé, because I hate him. Hate him. And I never say that about a Liverpool player, but I absolutely... Did I say Djibril Cissé? Sorry, I take that back. I love Djibril Cissé. My sincere apologies. God, I got that completely wrong. My sincere apologies. No, not Djibril Cissé. El Hadj Diouf. Sorry, not Djibril Cissé. I love Djibril Cissé. He's a lovely guy. I've actually had the pleasure of meeting him, and really enjoyed his time here. And his broken leg was very worrying, and he actually credits the club's medical staff for helping save his leg. Yeah, I meant El Hadj Diouf. Sorry, excuse me, I got that completely wrong. Yeah, El Hadj Diouf, scumbag, hate him. I never say that about Liverpool players, but I despise the fella. Absolutely despise him, and that would be closely followed by Paul Konchesky. What else we got? Sterling? No, I don't hold a hatred for Raheem Sterling. I think he looked at where he was and saw that he wanted to push on, and that Manchester City were further along in development, and I can look at that decision, as much as it hurt us as Liverpool fans, and think I can rationalise it from the player's perspective. But El Hadj Diouf was just an arsehole, full from moment one. And Paul Konchesky, yeah, well look, do I need to say anything else? If Fekir went through, would I hate him? Why would I hate Nabil Fekir? I've no reason to hate Nabil Fekir, mate. Coutinho? No, I don't hate Coutinho. He made his bed, he lied in it, but it's his choice. The only one I've ever really despised was El Hadj Diouf. Honestly, from the moment he came in, I just couldn't take to him. Looking cute, Craig. Is there another Craig here? Because you couldn't be talking about little old me, surely. Right, look, ladies and gents, gonna call that one a night. I will be, as I said, on Mundo Sporto tomorrow for the Leicester versus Manchester City game. So there's a link to Mundo Sporto in the description of this stream. Make sure you go over and subscribe to that and turn your notifications on. Then Jack Gill will be live with a team news announcement show ahead of the game tomorrow. I'll come on 30 minutes before the game starts for the watch along here on Anfield agenda of the Arsenal game. I'll have our post-match reaction as well, and then Connor will pull up all the best bits and clips and highlights. So again, thank you to our sponsors, Boyle Sports. Thank you to you guys for popping in and being top class as always. I hope you guys have a cracking weekend. I hope to see you tomorrow as well.